Hello, it's another day. Technically, it's only been like 12 hours since I streamed, but I slept, so it's another day. You know, I went to sleep, so it's a new day. Is that accurate? Doesn't matter. I think it is, and that's all that matters to me, anyway. Different things may matter to you, but you know, that's not my problem. Okay, let me grab my controller. I probably swapped over earlier than I should have, but I don't care. When do I ever, honestly? What is this caring of which I speak? That's not something I do. Um... Time to go do more quests. Right after I do cry. Oh, okay, so I'm at 71 base accuracy. I could bump that to 74. How long until I can use an auto gun? Like, I was like, why is there nothing there? So I forgot to switch to... Okay, so I'm 7 away. I could be 4 away from being able to use an auto gun that's at least worth using. I'm not sure it's worth boosting, but it's worth using, and that's not going to be used anytime soon. The Soul Assault. That's my actual weapon on one of my actual preferred weapons on my force. If I had a better slot for accuracy, you know, I could do something more, but that's fine. I will, instead of... Did I not finish that quest? I feel so stupid. That 100% means that yesterday, instead of actually finishing the quest, I just closed the game. Oh well. It's fine. I get to learn Zonde at level 1, so, you know, who's the real winner? That's right, not me. Oh, I should put that at the bottom. Okay, let me actually order this. Jafoi goes to the top. Oops. Like, for sure. I don't really know where I want everything else to go. I haven't played Force enough at a high enough level to really know where everything else should go, but I know I want Resta at the bottom, because that's a fast get to. And I know I don't care where Ryuker is, because, you know, I'm not really Ryukering in dire situations. That can just be right at the center. Yeah, this is apparently how you're supposed to play Force, from my understanding of watching a Force scout. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to fight like that. I will say it is kind of annoying. Like, definitely not my favorite. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Muscle memory will improve that. Not that I should get muscle memory for where those spells currently are, because it's not where they're going to be eventually. But it's fine. You know what? I will in fact be a little lazy. And by will in fact be a little lazy, I mean until I actually have a weapon that has a special, I'll go ahead and just put Foy there. So that way I can just cast it. Like, it's lazy, and apparently it's not as fast, which I don't know how true that is. I think if you're faster at the menuing than me, that might be faster. I think it's probably more true on the spells that take a longer time to cast. I don't know why I used some mana fluid there. Okay, and as if you could... There you go, Ragrappy. Okay, other Ragrappies, come on. Get on your feet so I can shoot you. I mean, what? I would never shoot the poor little Ragrappies. I don't know. I'm all over the place. I was surprised by how many people stopped in to watch Phantasy Star yesterday. Like, that's more than I get doing a lot of things. I think it was because I was the only one streaming it. So like anyone who felt like they wanted to watch Phantasy Star content, I was the only choice. Like it was me. If you wanted to watch Phantasy Star online content. Is anyone else streaming it right now? Or is it just me again? There are other choices today, so probably not going to do quite as well. But that's fine. There's people who are actually out there like doing more reasonable ways of playing the game, and good for them, honestly. I'm not doing anything special because I'm probably not even gonna finish this challenge, right? Like this is a silly challenge. I'm almost certainly not finishing it. But you know, we'll see. I've been considering extending the challenge out to doing every quest that isn't seasonal. But I don't know. I haven't done most of those quests at all, ever. Like, not even once. So I'm not sure if I care to, you know? Actually remember to feed my mag. I have to, at some point, decide which photon bursts I want. Not because, like, there's actual debate over which photon bursts are the best. It's that there's, like, 4, and you can only hold 3 that are really good. So it's just a matter of, do I want the healing one or not? And I don't know. I'll decide it once I'm at higher level play. Right now, I'm just worried about having mags that give you the stats that you want, right? That's all that matters right now. Alright, what is the accuracy level that I need? How long am I just boosting this mag on accuracy? 46. Okay. That's how many levels it needs on accuracy. Got it. That's pretty easy to do. Just do it until it hits 46. It's always one of those things where, like, I really wish that I could be a true variety streamer and that be my job. Not because I don't like doing other things, but because everything I like to do, I could potentially stream. You know, like I could stream most of the other creative hobbies that I have. Like I'm out here doing things like, I'm just gonna wait for her to shoot one and then foil it. Darn it. You did 1 less damage just to spite me, didn't you? Thanks for using the strong attack to make sure I got the kill. I appreciate you, Eleanor. Really helping me level up, like a true higher level friend. I cannot believe I forgot to actually turn in the quest yesterday. That's embarrassing. Like, on the one hand, I was sleep deprived, so I'll give myself that. I was pretty tired. But I still can't believe I just forgot. Completely slipped my mind. But you know, that happens. I just realized I have forgotten something that I like to do. It's been so long since I streamed on my own that I forgot to do what makes my image appear in the bottom right. Whoops. Because that's linked to Discord, I have to actually hop in like an empty Discord channel to get that to happen. I'm sure there are ways to do that that don't rely on Discord, but the Discord version is easier to just use. And more importantly, honestly, I use the Discord version because at this point most of my streams are with my friends. You know, like since I have actual like work now, the majority of my streams are done with my friends, and when I'm doing that I want it to be through Discord anyway. Plus, like, if I ever, like, actually got big as a creator, like, I would want to be one of those people who, like, makes it so their friends can hop in if they want to come and chat while I'm streaming. Like, not in a use my friends for content way, but in a I like the chill vibes kind of way of just people being able to come chill with me. Like, that's fun. It's one of those things where, like, I feel like, I don't know, if streaming ever did that well for me, I would have to actually think about the role it would serve in my life. Because I don't always want to chill like that with people. Sometimes I'm tired. Like, last night, I did not want to verbally listen to anyone. I didn't even want to watch YouTube videos. That's why I ended up streaming. Because if I'd wanted to watch YouTube videos, I would have played this while watching YouTube videos. But I was like so dysregulated to the point that I didn't want to hear other people talk. Like the text communication of chat was like the most conversing I wanted to do with other people. And then I just needed to talk because I find that regulating. Which I'm still processing that revelation that talking regulates me. I don't know. It's weird. Talking does, but interacting with other people doesn't. You know what I mean? Not sure if that makes sense, but it makes sense to me that, like, the act of talking, of expressing communication outward, is very regulating to me. But, talking to other real people just isn't. Yep, this is the only one. Okay, that time I actually finished the quest. Now let's go do the next one. I understand why all these side story quests are one player only, because like a lot of them have other characters join your party, and I'm sure they just didn't want to have to deal with that, right? But like on the other hand, I think a lot of these missions would be really funny with more people. I wasn't actually paying attention. Which mission am I on? This is claiming a stake, right? Yeah. Yeah, because I've already done the other two of the first set of quests. Gonna keep running around at the speed of sound. Gotta stop singing now or get copyright struck. I think that's the worst part about, like, I like singing little snippets of songs, but you know, I gotta limit myself when I'm streaming. Like, I don't want to be... I'm too tiny to want to be the one who tests how much singing I can get away with before they actually get angry. Yeah, I think there's definitely a delay there. Like, I always knew there was a delay on pressing the button to cast. I just didn't think it was something you could get rid of. I'm gonna test that, actually. Let's put Void at the top. Oh my gosh, that is noticeably faster. That's fucked. Why? I'm pretty sure I know why it works that way, because I've delved into how button presses work in games enough to understand what I think is probably happening. It's because this buffers and the buttons don't. So this happens as soon as possible, whereas the buttons happen can be delayed if you're not pressing them like on the right frame. It would be my guess as to why that's happening. Although maybe there's also something else happening in the background, because that was more than a few frames faster. That was like, I didn't have to measure it to see that it was faster, because like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Like it's almost like I'm animation canceling. Not quite, but it's in the vicinity. Like that is a lot faster. That's wild. I love when games have subsystems like that. Like, I'm glad they didn't take it out of the game. That's how that works. It also gives, you know, a very high skill cap on playing Force, but that's not necessarily a bad thing either, right? Like, that's fine. It does mean that I am going to have to actually order this menu in a way that makes sense. I'm gonna look at there's a Force guide on PSO World, I think that's where it was. I have it open in one of my many tabs. I'm gonna look at it because that's where I got like that's where I found out that information. I'm gonna look at how that person has their stuff set up. Also, isn't it? I know it's true for one of them. Is this the one that's true for? Is my casting animation faster? It is. Yeah. It's faster unarmed. Okay, well. So, cool. I hate it, but it is cool, admittedly. Let's go. I don't need weapons to fight you. I should probably be practicing casting the different things. Because what I'm probably going to do, what I imagine the setup is you have the best fire spell, which is Gafoy. Then whatever your best ice spell is going to be, and whatever your best electric spell is going to be. I'm debating whether it's faster enough that I care. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, is it faster? Sure. Do I care? Do I care enough to practice it right now? Because that's a lot of APM. And I have poor baby hands that perish. Okay, I love the melee moveset here. Look at that. I really love the way that looks, actually. Visually, this is great. It's so funny to think that, like, they made these movesets and there's no reason to. No one wants to attack barehanded in this game. I just leveled up, so I can't use them on a fluid. Should I be using Barda instead on most of these enemies? Probably. Honestly. I'm not going to, but like I should be. I should I just ran all the way away. I don't have my gun out right now. There we go. I don't care enough about the speed increase for being unarmed. So I'm just gonna keep the gun out so I don't have to swap it on. Like, I recognize that I should, because that anime, that, like, there's, it's not as big as of a difference as it seems on how long it takes to it's English just failed for me for a minute there. Ooh, I need to consider whether I want power or mind to be, no I don't. Well, I do on the third one. I don't feel like looking at the charts right now though. You can always make another mag later if I mess up, but it should be fine. Okay, so Dex is going to be the highest at first. That's absolutely giving me Pila. Like, that's always what that gives. And the other one that I would like to have is Mila Yula. That's generally what I prefer thus far in my little inexperienced baby player state after reading what they actually do. I want Layla, Pila, and Mila Yula. Those are the three that I want. There's a good argument to be made for wanting the one that's specific to Rangers instead of Pila. But I like Pila better, because Pila doesn't require that I be good at the game. So I just like Pila better. It requires 0 skill. You just get surrounded. So much easier. The Ranger one, which I believe can be more powerful in some circumstances, is in a line. Is it just fire? Oh, yeah, okay, well. Fire is the best. No. One of the things I think sucks the most is that if you want to stagger an enemy, physical attacks do that way better than spells. Although, to be fair, spells do have the possibility of inflicting debuffs and don't miss unless you miss. Like, there's no accuracy on them. There's, did you successfully hit the target? There's like, did you cast the spell while aiming in their direction and they weren't doing anything at the time that would avoid it? And that's it. It's always funny when I realize just how disconnected, like, you don't realize how bad your time blindness is until you really think about how long you think it'll take you to do something, and then you actually calculate how long that'll take. Because the friend that I've been playing ESO with went off to like he was busy with PAX, and then he is busy doing other stuff this week, so we haven't, you know, he's been busy. We haven't gotten a chance to play in a bit, right? Which is fine. But I knew he was going to be busy, and in my head I went, I can get all the other characters through episode 1 by the time that's done. I'm not even done with Forest. And I've played the amount of time that I expected to play when I made that determination. Truly, you do not realize how bad your time blindness is until you actually compare it to reality. Like, it's bad. It is not great. But yeah, I did find that pretty funny that I really just was that disconnected. Okay, I think I'll need mind to be highest after Dex, so I think I need to start feeding it anti-paralysis. Because if I find my mag table, if I want it to learn Mila Yula, I am at level 50. I am a force. That is a yellow bows. So Mila Yula for forces. That's not yellow bows. That is okay. Mind has to be greater than equal, dex has to be greater than power. So yeah, I need to start feeding it anti paralysis. which that's going to make the beginning of the game a little harder. Because having that early power boost now helps a lot more than having an early MST boost, in my opinion. But it's fine. So once I make sure that it gets Pila earlier. So if I make sure that it gets Pila second, then I can make sure it gets Mila and Eula third. And that's easy. Yeah. So I'll start feeding it anti-paralysis instead of antidote. No big deal. We have enough anti-paralysis right now. No, but I'm about to finish this mission anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Remember to go grab all three. Yeah, cool. I sometimes forget to go grab the one that's at the entrance, so I had to check. It's weird. I didn't realize how many people would care about watching Phantasy Star Online. Because not only did I do pretty well yesterday, but a surprising number of people have already stopped into this stream. You know, not many of them have stayed yet. But I'm getting more traffic than I do normally. I didn't realize that Phantasy Star would do well. I didn't think it would. You know, that was not a thought that I had. Can we just quickly look around for more we're giving up the 20 defense. I got another 3 accuracy there. Ooh, I could have my heart auto gun equipped right now. That's worth it. I'll buy that marksman arm. Yeah, that's absolutely worth it. There we go. And now I can have a heart auto gun on and my damage just doubled. Now the question is, I don't think I should bother putting this auto gun up. Like, increasing its hit. I don't think that's worth it. I should look at what special weapons you actually want. Like, I know what forces want. So you want the one that gets you TP back, and then I know you want Hell. For episode 2, but I don't know what else forces want or care about. Anyway, so I got that done. My mag can probably, yep, it can eat. Have some anti-paralysis. Which is good for getting that defense down anyway. Which isn't like a high priority, but it is nice to know that I'm further away from accidentally feeding my mag something and getting a level I don't want to. So I do not want a single level in defense, not a 1. Okay, now we continue doing the missions. I feel like I'm feeling much more chill today than I was yesterday, which means my talking is lower energy, but hopefully it will be more coherent. Hopefully. Weird that it didn't give me the chance to skip the text. I thought it still did on that one, but I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. I don't know. I kind of want to play the new MOBA that everyone's playing. I have it. I just haven't actually gotten around to playing it yet. Also, nice. That shop just had 3 new spells. Glad I checked. No, I don't understand because you're a fool. Yeah, please forgive me. I don't know, man. I don't think I will. Although I do understand not being the best about money. That's relatable. I'm not great about it. I have two modes of spending. Spend nothing and overspend. That's my two modes. Like, I have a very hard time once I've started, like, preparing myself to expend money, to limit myself when it's about things that I like. It's part of the reason I, like, mentally try and set my budgets lower than I think they should be, because I know that I'm probably going over. Ooh, over, here we go. Here you go, here you go. I did not mean to talk to you a second time. Anyway, that's another quest done. Lickety split. Going so fast. Okay, let's go take a journalist down there. It's weird because I feel like I love the side stories in this thing. They all feel like, I don't know, they're side quests that make sense. And I feel like that's a rare trait for games. Like a depressingly rare trait at that. Like, it is kind of depressing how many games don't make sense when you actually stop to think about them. So I should use these before I do anything else. Oh yeah, that's right. I have a gun that's good now. I can just shoot them. Right. Oh, hello. I guess the reason that games nowadays have less, like, silly emergent gameplay compared to older games like this is probably at a fundamental level, because how do I put this? There's less technological limitations, because a lot of the things that are true about this game, particularly if you're playing online, are weird because they were limited. Like, take for example the way attacks work. There's apparently an accuracy trick you can do because the game only stores one accuracy at a time, where you can use an attack type with low accuracy, like a special attack, and if you're far enough away to start a normal attack before it hits the enemy and it calculates whether it hits or not, you can swap out the accuracy for the normal attack accuracy, which is, you know, significantly better. And that is, I think, just like a super interesting thing to have be true in a game. I'm not aware of the accuracy glitch for melee weapons, but yeah, like there's I'm surprised that you can make it work with a melee weapon, but like that exists because they only had the space to have accuracy be there once, right? Like that's an optimization bug, right? Interesting. Good to know. But like that interesting. But like the reason that all works is because for optimization reasons, because they didn't have much memory storage, they have only one value for accuracy. Like that's not because they thought only one value was necessary. It's because they only put one out there. Whereas nowadays, I feel like if you were to I feel like if you were to like look at how games handle accuracy for attacks and things like that, they're all just their own separate blocks in memory. Like every attack is completely separate and on its own. Like there's not that kind of care about memory space. Because both RAM and chip memory have expanded by so much that like a lot of that emergent gameplay of that kind, like it doesn't exist anymore. And in some ways that's good. Like the emergent gameplay around the way enemy health packets are sent in this sucks. The fact that you can overwrite other people's hits is like, that's just bad, right? That is not a good thing by any stretch of the imagination. And like it can be somewhat interesting to work around, but the game would be better if it didn't exist. But like I think the accuracy things and the way casting spells out of menu works are things that I think do make the game more interesting. I'm not sure about better. I think the reason they make this game better is because they happen to really, he was far enough away to, okay, well, sure. I really hit that button thinking he was close enough that wouldn't happen. Just casting spells because I feel like it. But depending on the game, I feel like that emergent gameplay could be really good or really bad. Like, take for example a very different game. If something like spells coming out faster like that was true of like the Kingdom Hearts magic menus, doesn't work in that game. That is one, I don't think anyone would actually use it. But second, and more importantly, I think that makes the game worse. But that's also a game where there's a lot less spells and they're much more singular in their purpose. Like it's a very different game in terms of how it plays, right? And so that being true in that game would make the game worse. Whereas in this, I actually think that the way the menus interact with the rest of the game makes this game better. Not that I actually use it all that much. It's funny, I'm like, I know these things are true, but man, am I too lazy to use them a lot of the time. Okay, game. And by game, I mean me for not facing the right direction. Probably should have waited until after killing this wolf. Could have used spells on it, but oh well. Eat that anti-paralysis. Nom nom. But I'm gonna have to do some complicated stuff to get both Mila and Eula and Gila the way I'm thinking of getting them, but it's fine. I'll just do some math later. Because I'll have to keep Dex and Mind actually close together. It won't be enough to just feed it anti-paralysis. But you know, that's how mag raising works in this. Getting a mag that gives you the stats you need, easy. Barely have to think about it. Like just you look up what stats you need and then you feed it accordingly. Getting a mag that'll give you what stats you need, what photon bursts you want, and give you the mag you want at the end, you're gonna have to do some math. You're gonna have to actually plan, which isn't like difficult because like all that math is available online. Wait. Did I just walk by the teleporter? Because isn't it up here? I think I did. I think I just walked by the teleporter on autopilot. I did. Walked right by it on autopilot. Yeah, the journalist is scared. I do have to say, I don't think that I really agree with this general I I don't know. I think this government keeps too many secrets, and I think that is part of the problem. So I don't like that the reporter goes, wow, it sure was scary down there. Yeah, we're not going to tell the people about this. I actually think that she's contributing to the problem. Because, like, the amount of shit that Pioneer 1 kept secret from both the people living there who weren't involved and from Pioneer 2 is, like, that is the cause of the entire plot of this game. Is them not telling Pioneer 2 anything, and Pioneer 2 having to figure it out as they go along. Okay, now do the other one. Oh, I thought the door would be far enough. But like that's definitely like the plot of this game, right? Is Pioneer 1 did shady stuff they didn't tell anyone about. And now life is harder for Pioneer 2, and everyone on Pioneer 1 is dead. Like, that's the story of episode 1 and episode 2. And while I haven't played episode 4 yet, I'm gonna guess it's the story for it too. Like, you know, like that just feels like where the story's going. Ooh, I only had one telepipe. Bum, bum, bum. Always check for slots. What? I shouldn't have sold that. I thought Forest was 0%. Like, I thought, and I got hit on that too. Okay. I guess I need to be looking more carefully. I thought Forest was 0% chance on normal on Aphenia for getting hit percentage weapons. Bummer that I didn't realize that Saber had it in time. I just wasn't even looking for it. Like, I've only been checking for slots, really. I'll keep the cane, though. Let's see, how much... let me look at... weapons... just want the weapon list. Why is there an angles section on this weapon page? I don't care enough about weapons that work right now. Just want the main list of weapons. Where are... canes. So I want to look up what the max... Okay, 55 is the max grind for a cane. I think that'd be funny to have. I think a cane plus 55 with 20% hit's a funny thing to have. Is it an effective thing to have? No, not at all, honestly. This is a waste of grinders, and I fully acknowledge that. But okay, so that's 6 plus 12. I don't have enough. No. I'm still doing it though. Oh. This is absolutely a waste of grinders, but that's okay. I'll get more. You know, I'm running 12 characters. I will have more grinders than I really know what to do with outside of doing silly things like this. Okay, my cane is now stronger than my autogun. Life is good. It's also more accurate because it's a melee weapon. Okay, so the reason why this cane is because this cane has hit on it. So something I started doing, I don't think I actually have it in my shared storage right now. I think it's on one of my rangers, is I've started collecting weapons with hit percentage and then maxing their grind. because then if I ever start a new character for any reason in the future, I don't have to go through the part of the game where you don't have good equipment. Because I think that is, in my opinion, like not my least favorite part of the game, but getting hit percentage weapons is the grindiest part of the game that I've played so far, and I would prefer not to have it not to have to do it. I mean, techs are pretty good for forces. I just don't feel like storing a bunch of techs in my storage, so a weapon makes more sense. And if I got a wand or whatever that I could do a similar thing with, you know, like I'm still using techs with the weapons, but also like I just think it'd be funny to have a bunch of hit percentage weapons that are all max grinded in my storage. I just think that's a funny thing to have. I'm aware it doesn't like make all that much logical sense to do, but like it's not a logical thing, right? It's a funny collection to have. I was just surprised because I thought normal forest didn't have a hit percentage chance. I didn't think that was a thing here. I thought that started in mines in episode 1 on normal. Like I thought that was the earliest I could actually get a hit percentage, and I got 2 in that, and I'm really disappointed that I accidentally sold the saber because I wasn't even like, I didn't register that it had until after I hit sell because I wasn't looking for it, because I didn't think it had a chance to drop. I thought its chance to drop was in fact 0%. What's that percentage then? Because it's got to be pretty close to 0. This is my 9th character, and those were the first hit percentage weapons I saw in the forest, and this is my not 9th, 10th character that I've run through the forest. So like that chance has got to be tiny. Either that or I got really unlucky. It's definitely less than 1% unless I got depressingly unlucky. I really wish that this game didn't dislike forces as much as it does. I think this game does a lot of things to hold forces down. It's very sad. And I get why. It's because some of the spells are really, really good. So if they weren't held down in other ways, they'd be bonkers. But like, I mean, episode 2 is just over there telling forces to go jump off a cliff, and I think that's kind of rude. You know, didn't have to be like that. Episode 2, you could have been nice about it. My grievances with episode 2 are very recent, because my friend and I have been playing through on new characters, and episode 2 was just like, I went from in the caves, playing in the caves on normal, playing a force is godly. You feel like you're on top of the world. So long as you have Gafoy, you can just spam it. It is amazing. Like, it is like the best feeling. And then you get to the mines and you're like, okay, so Gazande is a little harder to use, and Razande is not anywhere near as good as Gafoy. But like, life is still fine. And then you're in the ruins and you're like, I have to actually learn how to play the game, but life is still good. Forces are still doing fine. Like, life is harder, but like, you know, you're still probably doing better than everyone else so long as you have enough fluids. And you're making enough money at that point that you're not hitting the point of starving on money. And then you go to episode 2, and the amount of money you're making drops, but the amount of spells that you need to kill things really doesn't, because they're now resistant. And let's not forget about the stupid flower that drops your TP to 0. That flower, why? Like, it's not so much harder, there's a lot of things in episode 2 that punish forces. Like I was playing with I wouldn't say so. I was playing with my friend. He was playing a ranger, and he was doing just fine. Like he was doing better in episode 2 than he was in episode 1. While I was just perishing. No, I have not. But also, as a hunter, you should always have a backup ranged weapon anyway. Like, sure, that's a matter of taste, but there's a reason you have a quick equip menu. You know? You should always have a variety of weapons at your disposal. And it's not like pistols are bad. Like, I mean, sure. Like you should be switching on the fly as needed, because that's like the only thing a hunter really needs to learn how to do quickly menuing wise. Is that, because you can have what items you need there. And ow. You can have the items you need there and your 3 attacks there. Yeah, traps as well. That's true. I have thus yet never actually gotten good with traps though, so I tend to just kind of forget they exist. Whoops. Accidentally, oh, my inventory's full. And I don't think I have a telepipe. Rough. This Trimate's not worth a telepipe. So, bummer. Like, don't get me wrong. I think, like, episode 2 is harder than episode 1 overall. Like, it's not an easier time. But the change in difficulty isn't comparable. I would not count that as a short range. I've gotten, like, you're talking about the flower that can drain TP, right? I've gotten hit by that from a good distance away. I definitely count it as mid-range, at least. Like I think you outrange it with a gun, but you also have to consider that most spells are mid-range. Like the majority of the spells that you're going to be using are mid-range. Like I got hit with it probably, if the flower was that door, I got hit with it when I was this far away. Yeah. That's definitely fair. Like, you have options for sure. Hi. Oh, I should go manage my inventory. Like, you have options to deal with it for sure. But I think giving any, and if it was a TP drain that was like a specific amount of TP got drained, I think that'd be fine. But if it is, it's way too high. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that like everything in episode 2 is much harder for a force. I'm just saying that, like, compared to episode 1, episode 2 is a drastic change of like, you don't get to deal damage on anywhere near the same level. Your damage, I think my average damage from a spell dropped by like 50 or 60. and I was leveling up. I was getting stronger, and my damage and my level and my spell levels were getting higher, and like the amount of stuff that I could do was not increasing, and did not ever make it to episode 1 levels by the time we cleared episode 2. Like there are still uses, like it's not like forces are useless in episode 2, but it definitely is like you go from having options through your spells for every enemy that's not going to drain your entire TP bar to like having options for some enemies that aren't going to drain your whole TP bar. And that's probably largely a leveling issue. I've seen how bonkers your TP bar gets when you're higher level, so like I would absolutely believe that becomes less of an issue. And part of the problem is just how expensive Tri-Fluid is. Like that is, I think, my biggest issue with this game is just how expensive Tri-Fluid is. I think you bring Tri-Fluid's price down, and I have way less of a problem with the way episode 2 works. I think it's fine if you just bring the price of Tri-Fluid down. So that way I'm not hemorrhaging money if I decide to use it in normal mode. Because it makes normal mode of episode 2 really hard for a force. In terms of expense wise, because you can't be freely spamming like that on normal mode. See, you say that, but at the point where it's taking me to where I can use 2 dye fluids and not be full on TP, that means I have to go back fairly often just to get more fluids, which means making whoever I'm playing with wait for me to go back well before our inventories are full so I can grab more fluids. Like I agree that I think the big problem is that the end of episode 2 is okay. So we were doing that, actually. That was our solution, was to I would drop my dye mate for my friend and he would drop a full stack of dye fluid. Although he wasn't using the dye mate for healing, he was using the dye mate for feeding his mag. But that is in fact what we ended up doing. Was just carrying fluid, we were just carrying healing item stacks for each other. But like, it's one of those things where like I kind of understand why it is that way. But man, did I feel useless on that last boss. I have less health, so less of a chance of surviving the big attack. The Grants-like attack that he can do. And none of my spells did really effective damage on the last boss. And I couldn't find like any good advice online for what spells to use for the boss of episode 2. And Lord knows none of what I was using was working that well. I actually definitely want a handgun for this. I am now realizing I should have kept the hard autogun in my inventory, actually. See, you say he changes elemental weaknesses. None of my elemental attacks were doing good damage. Like, it felt like his just general spell resistance was high enough that I wasn't doing well. Yeah, I figured phase 1 was Xande. Like phase 1 I actually didn't have any problem with as a force. It was phase 2 where I was like, I am doing negligible damage and like I'm contributing more on what's the name of it, Faux New World is what I was on. Like I was doing more damage by shooting him with a railgun that I had gotten, and and boosting our attack, which is kind of sad when you only have a shift a class of like when you only have a shift a level of like 5. And it probably was low level techs were contributing, because this was recent, right? Like this was during the anniversary event that we've been doing all this, which means that we're leveling up faster than we're getting item drops, right? Oh, I was using the defense drop too, yeah. Like I once I realized my offensive spells weren't doing anything, I was like, well, we're buffed and he's debuffed for the rest of this fight, I guess. Because what else am I using my TP on? Yeah. I was only just barely able to equip the railgun, and I had explicitly boosted my mag to be able to do it. I mean, it's probably more impactful if you're in a bigger group. It was just my friend and I playing, so it didn't feel super impactful because it was just boosting his damage and mine. That boss also just has an HP check, and that's rough because I did not meet that HP check. I just carried Scape Dolls rather than have to, because I didn't have any slot things that would boost HP. And rather than like do what I probably should have done, which is scour the shop a couple of times until one showed up, I solved the problem in a much sillier way by just I had like 8 Scape Dolls at the time in my inventory, and I knew I was about to do the forest 11 more times, so I was like, oh, it'll be fine. I'll be picking up so many Scape Dolls, I can afford to blow 6 or 7 on this fight. Oh, whoops, wasn't paying attention. Yeah, well, we weren't charging PBs faster than he was using it. We did avoid some of them with PBs. We did learn the hard way that if you mistime it, you get hit twice. If you mistime being invulnerable. Not sure what exactly was wrong with our timing, but that happened. But I survived the first hit, but not the second. Got lucky on one damage roll, but not the other. I mean, luck wouldn't have mattered for the second damage roll. Getting hit twice was a death sentence on a hit that I have to be lucky to survive. Whoops, did not mean to shoot that one. Like, certainly part of it's like not having game knowledge. I also just like this is a more general comment on episode 2 as a whole. I don't like the way the enemy difficulty scales going from episode 1 to episode 2. I think it's not great. And I think it's just that they didn't want to they didn't want to enforce that you'd finished episode 1 before you go to episode 2, right? But like, man, they should have. But that's just a general comment on how the game is structured. Like, because I don't like that episode 2, like if you've done episode 1, the beginning of episode 2 is patronizing as all heck, right? Because they're like, they're sitting here like, we've got to make sure you're good enough to fight something infected by Dark Falls, and I'm sitting over here like, bitch, I killed that fucker. He has been slain by my hand, or she, since he was possessing Rico? Whatever. It has been, Dark Falls has been slain by my hand. You know? Like, what do you mean you need to test me still? My resume speaks for itself. And then like, if you've done episode 1, the difficulty of the beginning of episode 2 at the same difficulty level is trivial stats wise, because you're going to be approximately what, at least 10 levels higher than you should be for it. Oh yeah, definitely. Like the Dark Falls boss battle is way easier. I'm mostly just talking about, I don't like the first two areas, the difficulty of them and the and how they're set up. I especially think it's funny when they're like, and here are these bosses that we made based off bosses other hunters have faced. And it's like, yeah, I know. I'm the one who I got you this data. Check who sent the lab that data. I do think that the bosses are cool. I actually really like the boss fights design-wise. I just think that they should have enforced that episode 2 stat line, like the stat line for episode 2 normal mode, should start at Ruins difficulty. I think if they do that, it's fine. If they just started at Ruins rough stat line. I think that's fine, and then that feeds, I think, better into Seabed and the jungle actually being harder areas than the Ruins. If they're like, no, the enemies here are actually as strong, like you've got to be as strong as the enemies in the Ruins to go here. I think that makes for a better transition, but it's because they didn't want to enforce that people had that people were strong enough to clear the Ruins, and I just think that was a mistake. They should have just been like, no, you have to actually clear the Ruins. Let's see, I do like 9 damage a hit. Is my Shifto worth using? Probably not, but it's only level 1. So I do like 9 a hit. Does this even increase the... Okay, it increases it to 10, 11. And occasionally 9s, but less often. That could actually potentially be worth it. I think I'm still not going to care enough, because what I should actually be doing is just not getting hit. What I should actually be doing is just properly aiming Parda so it's hitting multiple things, and calling that good enough. Like, that's what I should actually be doing on these enemies. Shift is unnecessary if I actually do that. Yeah, I know. I just don't feel like menuing to re-equip my gun. Especially on this quest. I believe that wasn't far enough. Oh, I've made some mistakes. Whoops. I meant to only go far enough for, like, the ones that were the furthest away from me to get up, not for more than half of them. I didn't pick up a oh, I did pick up a telepipe. Lucky me, I forgot to buy one. Too busy yapping. But yeah, I'm aware that Fomar's cast faster without a weapon equipped. I'm just too lazy to be swapping. You know, it's one of those things where I'm like, that is what I should be doing. I agree. Selling a little bit slower now that I accidentally sold a saber with hit on it. Because I'd really like a handgun with hit. That'd be nice for the other forces. Is it because I'm a yellow bows? I had heard that yellow bows have higher chance to get hit weapons. Is that why I could find some? Okay, that makes sense. So it is 0% for everyone else, probably. And then I just have a slight chance because I have a yellow ID right now. That would make more sense. One thing I do really like about episode 2, though, one thing I will 100% give it credit for, is that in talking hard all of a sudden. In episode 2, the layout of where things are for Ryukyuing is much better. I don't like the way the teleporters are actually set up, where they go to different areas. I don't like that. But like the comparison of where the nurse is so much better. It's so much nicer for playing a force, because like, you know, it takes so much time if you want to go refill your TP at the nurse in episode 1. Like, it's not worth doing. It's such a long walk if you Ryuker. But in episode 2, it's like right there. Yeah, you should just refill your TP while you're going by. It's only 10 Meseta. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, of course that's the right answer. Yeah, I've got enough for it to be worth. Yeah, like, if you have the money, that's absolutely just faster. And that's silly. That should not be the right answer, right? Like, the only reason to not just drink fluids at the shop in episode 1 is if you're too poor. Which is a reason to not do a lot of things as a force, honestly. There are lots of things. I was talking about this yesterday, like 15 hours, not even 15 hours ago, when I streamed before I slept. But one of the things that I like the least about online play is that I think the online quests for the main story, especially in episode 1, don't add anything over just finding the Rico's messages, like over the offline experience. If they just add more talking, but none of what anyone says is interesting or novel at all. Like, they're all just repeating information that you get somewhere else in more interesting ways. Like, you get all of that information somewhere else in what I think is a more interesting way. I have to actually, like, walk in a little bit because I don't have high stats. Gonna have to actually be casting or equipping my cane. Come here, enemies, I'm gonna beat you up. But yeah, aside from the scientist, which I think is funny, the main quest for episode 1 doesn't add anything over the offline experience at all. I do think it's really funny though that just one of the random scientists tells you what happened with the meteorite and how their planet got destroyed, like just randomly. It's just in a random ruins quest. I think ruins or mines, like just randomly. He's just there telling you about, no, by the way, our planet was destroyed shortly after we discovered photon energy. Oh, why did we discover photon energy? Oh, because a meteorite came from this portion of the sky. And I read that and I was just flabbergasted, sitting there going, did this game just imply to me, please, did this game just imply to me that the whole reason for the story of this game is because you know, I've never checked. Do I need to go that way? Do I need to go fight the wolves? I don't know. I'll just go get the Hildebears and then I'll come out and clear Forest 1. That's the easier way to do about it. It's the I don't think way. Because I know I don't have enough time to full clear. Okay, there's wolves here. And then the mosquito will be over there. And then I can get the Hildebear. And then I should be able to go get the Ragrappies. Yeah, that's fine. But I don't have the power because I don't have any of the AoE spells yet to beat all the enemies before I run out of time. I think, well, maybe I could, but it'd be real tight, and like, why? When I could just do this and go murder the enemies real quick. I forgot to put the mono grinder. Oh, basic techs are pretty good. I mean, I actually think that in this case, the cane is faster. Please. Because that's about 2 hits of the cane. I think you're right. If I unequip my my cane, this is faster. Especially if I actually use the menu to cast, but I'm too lazy. I really thought that it would just die. Go away. Please, game. I'm begging you to actually face the direction I want to. Yeah. I definitely can on the cane. I'm playing in lazy mode today. You know what I mean? Head empty. Which means that this is just how I play when there's not a thought in sight. Let's see. I'll actually try menuing it. I don't know. Menuing it isn't as much faster when you're using simple ones. Accidentally held the trigger down when I didn't mean to. But yeah, I'm definitely not actually paying attention to the way I'm playing. So this is probably about as sloppy as my gameplay gets. Accidentally hit the wrong button there. Yeah, I need to get more space, or just be using a tech that actually slows the enemy down. Part of the reason I'm actually doing the menuing, though, is to get faster at it, even if it's not super helpful to me right now. Good to know that the first one is slower. Does that mean that if I have the spell on a hotbar, I should cast it from the hotbar, then start menu casting? Because that's what that sounds like it should be true, based off of that. Not that I have Barda on a button for me to hit right now. So, you know, it's not like I have a choice on things that are resistant to fire. I always forget that I cannot press the trigger again. Like, I can't buffer that trigger press there. It feels like I should be able to, but I can't. Because that cancels the spell cast. Which is such a weird thing to be true, but it is. Oops. That muscle memory is gonna fuck with me that, like... I mean, it'll be fine, because once I have a weapon that actually has a special attack, I'm not gonna... Hello? Do they have to leave the area before I get the thing? I forgot to equip a gun. Does that set not count for the data? I guess not. They definitely don't have their data yet. That's the one I'm missing. Weird. In that case, I will jump back to the first area, and then I'll actually go through the place. Well, I don't have a telepipe, but I'll probably get one while I'm... Does this go back to Forest? This just goes back to Pioneer, right? Yeah, okay, good. It did what I wanted it to. I need to figure out what I should be feeding my mag other than anti-paralysis to get my mind higher. Because I need to keep it closer to Dex than it is right now. Because I need to swap to mind being the most. Because I'm planning to get Pila and then Mila Eula. Okay, they're somewhere over here. I forget which. I honestly don't remember which room they're in Forest 1, but they're somewhere. I know that's where I've been getting the data for Ragrappies. And I have 10 minutes to kill some Ragrappies, so I'm not worried at all. I'm just back into full clear mode. I'm about to fight Ragrappies, so I should just keep the gun out. This is a wolf room. I don't know why the game was like, them boxes are what you're targeting today, not the enemies. I briefly forgot that wolves can in fact just JoJo walk out of Foy. That's all they need to do to avoid that. But yeah, I'm trying to practice the menuing that you're supposed to do as a higher level force. So that way when my friend's back and we start on episode 4 and then probably go into hard mode on episode 1 and, you know, so on and so forth, I can actually do some of that. Not gonna matter all that much in hard mode, I don't think. But at some point it'll start being a significant boost if I am actually fast at the menuing. I was really sad to learn that menuing was better for forces, because I learned how to play this game with keyboard on keyboard just so that way I could play a force. And then I found out that I was wrong, like I didn't need to do that, because at high level play you should be using menuing for a lot anyway. And if you're fast enough to make the menuing faster than pressing the button, then you're fast enough that you don't need the extra hotkeys. Which I was just like, why did I spend all that time learning new muscle memory to play this from a keyboard? Completely unnecessary. I really thought I'd be able to just shoot it once. Whatever. Now I might be able to just shoot it once. Yeah? Yeah. At least I have a chance now. Probably not guaranteed yet. I'm pretty sure I can still do 11 damage. probably. Rough. Trying to think of what else I have to just ramble about. Because that is, you know, the point of streaming. I have to say, I think one of my favorite piece of emergent gameplay in this game is actually something I never got to do as a kid. So when I played this game on the GameCube, right? A lot as a kid, but I always played it for the most part with my friend. You know, the same friend that I'm playing Infinio with. Like that's why this game holds so much nostalgia for both of us, is because we played it a lot together. And I think it's really funny that my favorite piece of emergent gameplay is how opening menus works with other players. Or not with other players. Works with targeting enemies. You know, it lets you just move at full speed all the time instead of having that slowdown. I think that's one of my favorite pieces of emergent gameplay. But if you're playing on split screen, you can't do that. For two reasons. One, this menu doesn't exist. Like that pulls up the map, not that menu, that button combination, if you're on split screen. And opening the map is opening the other menu is a generally rude thing to do on split screen because of the way it works. And I think that's interesting, that like my favorite piece of emergent gameplay I didn't even get to experience as a kid. Just wasn't a thing that I ever knew about, because I couldn't have the menus open while like you discover that by having a menu open near an enemy, but I couldn't do that because I almost always played the game online, or not online, with a friend, local. Now that was the problem, is that it wasn't online. We were playing locally with each other, which, like, it makes sense that there were going to be limitations on the split screen. That makes sense that some things weren't going to be there, and at least we could play together. If you had four friends, like if you wanted to play with 4 people and you tried to split screen that on the GameCube, it did not work very well. And by very well, I mean really at all. At 3 people, the game was fine. It would sometimes have a little bit of lag, but like it was fine. Like it was workable. At 4 people, no, the game was not functional. Like we tried it once with some of our friends, trying to get them into the game, and then we never did it again because it was just that bad. Worst part about playing a force that has all the spells and then going back to a low level force is being in a situation where you're like, I want to cast Gafoy, but you don't know Gafoy, so you can't. It is truly pain. I don't even think I have enough stuff to learn Gafoy yet. Unfortunate. Okay. I just failed to turn around all the way twice in a row. Rough. Me deciding I'm too lazy to actually think, so I just press X until it dies. Too lazy to think, therefore using the ultimate strategy. Hit it till it dies! Should have Barda somewhere out on my thing. But then I'd have to give up an item or heavy. It's one of those things I'm like, I recognize that I really should be practicing the menuing so that way I can one day have the muscle memory to do it faster. Like, I understand that conceptually, but man, is it annoying. Because like if I was fast enough at it, I wouldn't need to run around as much, right? Like I'd be able to get more spells off because I'd be doing it fast enough for it to actually be an improvement. Over just hitting a button. What I really need to get used to is just having the menu open. Yeah, that's what I was using, but I'll be honest, I don't like playing this game without a controller. And I don't know how to map those to my controller. And I don't have the extra buttons. I'm playing on a standard PS5 controller. So it's not like I have a bunch of extra buttons to work with. I have like what, 2 buttons that that are not used. I guess I could put all the simple techniques there. If I learned how to map those. Oh, and this doesn't use pushing in the sticks either, so I could get like Resta and Anti, you know, the the 5 spells that a low level force needs to succeed. each simple elemental probably like that probably exists. Like that sounds like something that exists. You know what I mean? Also, okay, so why did killing the enemies up here in that room make more enemies spawn in this room? That's so weird. Like, why did that do that? And now more enemies will actually spawn in? Okay. Like, I was like, I could have sworn there were more enemies in here. I just didn't know why they weren't spawning. You can definitely tell, like, I played the entirety of episode 1 and 2 recently on keyboard and mouse, and like I can definitely tell that my aiming has gotten worse with spells on controller as a result. You know, like I just like it's a muscle memory thing where like when I turn it becomes super obvious. It wasn't as obvious on the Rangers because of the way oh hey, got Flammy done. Nice. Grab another telepipe. This time I'm gonna remember to put the mono grinder away, I swear. This time for sure. I really need to look up which fluid I should be feeding it. How much am I going to cry about being poor? That's the question. Mag feeding table. Because I do not have these memorized yet. Britra. Britra's table 1. All of them increase defense. That's not good. Is anti-paralysis my only choice that doesn't increase defense? For increasing mind, it is. This sucks. Okay, so what's it going to become? Like how screwed am? Let's find out. So it's going to become Mamuchi, which is mag feeding table 2, which at least anti-paralysis starts actually minusing a good amount of defense there, and monofluid doesn't give it defense anymore. So at that point I can just level mind as much as I want to. So let me do some math. So I have 1 level in power. I have 1 level in mind. I might want more levels in power. Like I might want to balance it out more. Balance out the gains more. If I could do, well, I can't, I run into the same problem there of I can't do that without increasing defense, and that's something I definitely don't want to do. Okay, so in order to get, so I'm gonna get 19 more levels before it switches its feeding table. And then I've got 15 levels from there that I can just purely give it mind. Like I can just feed it mono fluid in perpetuity after that. Like no problem. It can just eat mono fluid. It's definitely eating anti-paralysis right now. And if it runs out of defense to minus, I'll feed it a tri-fluid or something that really will give it a lot of mind. I'll look at which has the better ratio, difluid or tri-fluid on table 1. They both give 7 defense, so tri-fluid by far has the better ratio. Okay. So for every 7 anti-paralysis I feed it, I can feed it 1 tri-fluid. Oh, life is hard. So after 19 more levels, probably I'll have mind 3, I would guess, because I don't feel like doing the math. Okay, see ya. Thanks for stopping by. But let's see, mind. So if mind is 3 by then, that's 2 of the levels. The other 17 go to Dex. How in the world do I make that work? If I get mind up to 4, that helps. Needs to be within 15. That's what I need it to be. Life is gonna be hard. Inventory slow. I was like, why couldn't I buy that? My inventory is too full. You know what? I'll just not worry about it. It'll be fine. You know what I mean? It'll work out. I will simply keep boosting mind, and it'll work out. I will just boost mind as much as I can. And otherwise, not worry about it. Because I don't feel like actually doing more math. Math sucks. It doesn't actually, but I don't feel like doing it right now. So, I'm not gonna. I have so much nostalgia for like all the music of Phantasy Star. I think if I heard most of the music now, I wouldn't care very much. But I have so much nostalgia for the music. Like, it is the best thing ever to my brain most of the time. Like, it's great. It's a wonderful listening experience. Off to Forest to... Let's see. Oh, there's a telepipe over here. Okay. I'm actually going to use that telepipe because I forgot to make sure I had a flute. Okay, really? Is my controller dead zones failing me that hard? That because like I wasn't hitting left there. A couple of times I jerked left there. That was my dead zones, and I think I have my dead zones on this on my computer set to like 90% at this point. What the heck? How is that not enough? Anyway, dun 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 dun. Pause it. Watch out. Yeah, get om that tri-fluid. Delicious. Okay, so that got us most of the level of mind for like not even a third a level of defense. We can do that one more time, then we'll have to swap back to anti-paralysis. Okay, controller, calm down there. Like that's dead zoning, and that's not great. Okay. I might need to stop just to swap out my controller. Please, please, controller, don't do this to me. Chill. I have actually looked into fixing that on a controller when it's doing that, and it's not like the hardest thing in the world. I forgot to buy a tri-fluid. Whoops. No, that's fine. I can feed it anti-paralysis, then just feed it 3 tri-fluid the next time it's hungry while I'm in town. Like, that's not a problem. What might be a problem is the way my dead zones keep acting up on my control stick. That might be a problem, but it's fine. All is well. Everything is great. We are amazing, actually. I just realized that, like, if I was ever to run ads, this game actually has good timing for it. If I was to run ads manually, because I could just run it when I'm in the shop. You know? When I'm busy doing the menuing is a good time to run ads. Anyway, okay, I didn't leave any items in there. That is what I'm checking for right now, just to be clear, is making sure I didn't leave any items anywhere while I was rushing. Bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, grab this. I just gotta go mug a Hildebear over here and grab the items that are in here. And then we're done with yet another mission. Yeah, playing forces before forces get to really force is rough out here. Like it really do be. It's a hard life. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna beat you up with a stick. You're a giant bear that breathes fire? Cool story, bro. I'm a dude with a stick. And I am proved the stronger one, as expected. Ha 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 ha. Okay. There we go. I am very ready to not play the forest for a while. You know what I mean? Like I'm ready to be done with the forest. Playing the forest is making that feeling stronger though, because it's so much slower than the Rangers were. The Rangers could very easily just make it through, no problem. Didn't even take hardly any time at all. Just, you know, beat up the enemies and go home. But that's because I had a really good weapon for them. You know, a plus 55 sniper will do that. I don't know what I should be doing with my stream titles right now, honestly. I don't know what the point of a stream title is a lot of the time if I'm not doing a challenge. Other than to, I mean, obviously the point of it is to be something interesting that makes someone want to click it, right? That's the point. Also, she's hiring me as a bodyguard. She is stronger than me. She is 2 levels higher, and we're both forces. My cane is better than hers, but that's really all I've got going for me. Anyway, we are playing a force, so we are obligated to check the store. What do you know? We learned anti. Like, that's why we are obligated to check the store. I'm gonna have to do whatever whatever thing it is that lets you not have to deal with. So yeah, I am going to sell that handgun because I'm just gonna get the heart auto gun out of my inventory again, out of my shared inventory, shared bank. There's the right word. But yeah, I really like the Phantasy Star games. Interestingly, I think one of my favorite ones is not one that most people would expect. One of my favorite ones was like one of my favorite the English language just failed me for a sec. Not English language. The English language did nothing wrong. My brain failed me for a second there on processing language. You know, the English language had nothing to do with that one. And I've now lost that train of thought. So whatever my thought was there, I'm sure I'll talk about it again at some point. Lord knows I talk about everything multiple times. It'll come up. Because I do not remember what I was talking about. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of the time I don't really know what I'm doing when I'm streaming other than just talking. Just because. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, because I think part of it's that, like, I think if I had the time, I really liked editing. But it takes so much time, and I don't have the executive function to do that. I'm too busy having executive dysfunction. That one over there is definitely getting away. Oh no, I got it. Okay. Really didn't believe in myself there on that one. Really? That wasn't far enough? Oh my gosh, please, Dead Zones. I am begging you. I hate... that is one of the reasons I don't like first-party controllers, and I'm strongly considering getting, like, a dedicated controller for my, computer that isn't first-party for that explicit reason. Because, man, every first-party controller, if you don't know, has the same issue of they stop the sticks start having issues with the dead zone at like 400 hours of gameplay. I'm well past that on this controller, just so we're clear. Like, it lasted longer than I've heard most people's do, but like the dead zone at this point is 90% of the thing. Like, I have to push all the way for it to do anything, and even now it's still getting moments where it's drifting. With a 90% dead zone, it's drifting. Like, that's wild. That is bonkers. Those misses were rough, man. Like, it should not be having any problems with a 90% dead zone. That's ridiculous. Like, at least it's supposedly a cheap fix, because you should be able to just replace it with another part, and it just works. So at least there's that. You know, like, I'm less annoyed than I would be if the only realistic answer was pay another $50 for a whole new controller. I would certainly be more annoyed if that was the only answer. But there are, in fact, other answers, so I'm, like, only vaguely annoyed. But, yeah. I don't know. It's... less than ideal, for sure. There are boxes back here I couldn't get until I hit that switch. I think we're on the map where that's true. Yeah. Because I haven't been doing very many solo streams recently, around the 2-hour mark, my energy has started really flagging again. You know, I start hitting my yap limit much sooner. My yap muscles are not as well maintained as they used to be when I could yap for... Part of it's that... part of it's definitely that, like, I'm not actually hyperfixating on the game right now. Like, this is a comfort game for me, not a this is my current hyperfixation. I'm still doing stupid things in it, but it's not like it was when, like, I was playing Dragon Quest XI, where Dragon Quest XI was my hyperfixation, so, like, playing it for 12 hours a day and talking about it for 12 hours a day felt natural. Didn't even have to think about it. I'm over here and I'm playing Force so lazily because I'm just playing it like Worse Ranger. Which, if you don't make good use of your spells, is what Force is. It is just Worse Ranger if you're not making good use of your spells. You know what? I don't feel like practicing menuing today, so we're gonna... go, and then over here we'll go Resta. There we go. I'm now in full right, oops. I'm now in full, like, lazy gameplay mode. Lazy gameplay being how the devs probably expected people to play, because they probably didn't realize how much of a benefit. Also, if I'm playing like this, I should unequip my weapon. For a second I was like, did unequipping my weapon just increase my spell damage? That doesn't make sense. And then I realized I just leveled up like a second before that. Easy. Why does this lady only know one spell though? I feel like that's the real question. I hit my enemies with the Kung Fu warrior powers. This is how you can really tell I'm the Kung Fu warrior, because you don't get that magnificent of a pose without being the Kung Fu warrior. Like, way too showy. Like, sure, hitting my enemies doesn't do anything, but I'm good enough at magic that doesn't matter. My Kung Fu is distracting you with my Kung Fu while I actually hit you with magic. That's my Kung Fu. Oh, she just, like, immediately took a bunch of them out. Please, Drift, I'm begging. I don't know why my controller drift suddenly got so much worse, but it really do be all of a sudden. I'm gonna have to manually increase it again, I think. Maybe if I put it up to 95, I can put off fixing it for longer. I really need to order that part. Yeah, I'll have to look up what part that is later and get it ordered. Like, it's definitely becoming non-optional. So let me actually deposit this disc. Any hit percentage? Depressingly? No. No slots either. I'm gonna start checking before I go to the shops, just that way I can't accidentally get rid of anything. Since I'm here, you know, if I check for hit percentage and frame slots beforehand, I can't accidentally poof anything important out of existence, which makes me feel better. Okay, there's my 3 tri-fluid. A good use of money if there ever was one, mostly because I have so much money. And there we go. That's once again most of a level of mind, which is the best I can do. Is keep using anti-paralysis to make sure I don't level up defense. Oh, it's a 3 slot frame. I've already got one, but you know, it is always nice to see things like that at the shop, even if they're not what I need right now. Really hoping that one day I'll find out you can in fact get a 4 slot frame. Hasn't happened yet, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. Just because I haven't seen one yet doesn't mean I can't get one. Oh, since I have a chance for hit percentage, I should be checking the weapon shop too, huh? Although, does my ID affect the weapon shop? Like, it doesn't pull from my drops list. It pulls from a separate list, right? I don't know. I'll try it and we'll see what happens. You know, I'll just start checking the weapon shop and see if a hit thing ever appears there. Because I know it can later, but I don't know if that's just because you're high enough level or whatever determines your shop thing that you should be aligned with normal mines or later, and so it has a chance. Like, I don't know how that works. Easy. Yeah, that's right. I just punched a mosquito to death. One could argue that punching mosquito to death is in fact a very normal thing to do. But, hush. I'm proud of myself. As I should be. And she really be over here not pacing herself at all in her spell casts. And she does eventually run out of fluids, I'm pretty sure. Because I've definitely seen her, like, in the last couple fights against the Hildebears, not cast a single Varda, and only hit enemies with her staff for, like, most of Forest 2 before. Oh, I see. I thought I had the leeway to break those boxes and still get XP. My mistake. Ba-doop. Whoops. Okay. Onward we go. Feed it more anti-paralysis to lower that defense. Just gotta make sure the defense doesn't level up. That's all that matters over there. And then hope that I've feeded enough tri-fluids over the course of it that it's fine. Here's hoping on that. You know, here's a good way to think about it. I should just be trying to feed it as many Tri-Fluids as possible, and so long as I keep those within 15 levels of each other, it's fine. Because I can just purely feed it Monofluid, and it'll be a-okay. One thing I think is very interesting about an older game like this is because so many people want advice right when they're initially starting, there is a lot of advice and knowledge about the beginning of the game, and because people have kept playing it over the years, there's a lot of advice and knowledge about late in the game, like, you know, when you're just playing on Ultimate. But something I've noticed is that there's not nearly as much advice or knowledge about the middle section. You know what I mean? Like the portion of the game, like, there's not much information, and like there's not nearly as much information about how you should be playing as a force in the middle. Like, there's not any information really available on at what point is Shifta a big enough boost that you really do just need to keep it on all the time. And some people will say, well, it's always worth it, and the answer is no, it's not. It is in fact not always worth it. It is worth it a lot of the time, but certainly not always. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Shift and Demand. I think they're great spells. Would use again. But they are definitely not always worth it. They are worth it the majority of the time. Yeah. But the guides don't really do a good job of differentiating when they are and aren't worth it, because that point is at the beginning and in the middle of the game. For the majority of the game, it's never worth it to not have Shift and Demand. If you have someone capable of casting a good Shift and Demand, it should always be on. You know, there's no reason not to have it on. But I feel like there are times in the beginning and middle of the game as a force where it doesn't make sense to cast it, but there's not really any guidance on that because it's a brief period of the game compared to that everyone just kind of figures out on their own, compared to just follow best practices because you're going to want to do it later. Oh my gosh, I am fixing the stupid dead zone issues. Okay, before I sell anything, we're gonna... That's a hit percentage saber! We're gonna go store that. It's only a 10% hit percentage, but we take what we can get, you know? Yeah, we're out here. We want a hit percentage in our shared inventory of every single weapon, and then I'm gonna max grind them all eventually with all my extra grinders. It's gonna be a great time. The max grinding them all will take a lot more time because I'm gonna focus on the ones that are actually helpful. So like, I max grinded that sniper for the Rangers because it's a really good weapon to just be able to speed through forest with. And I didn't have a hit percentage shot or anything like that. Or I would have considered that. That would have been a strong consideration if I'd had one. But alas, I didn't. Okay, fill up on anti-paralysis. And then I want to buy at least 3 Tri-Fluid. That's the other thing about Tri-Fluid that I think is really weird. I don't know, I'm taking an item. Please. Not deposit, take. Maceta. That's the other thing that I think is really odd about, language failing me. I think is, nope, I've lost the thought. It's gone. The plot is gone. Whatever that thought was, it has disappeared into the ether, never to be seen again. Oh well. Yeah, I've got nothing. We're just gonna have to catch a new train of thought. It'll be coming in just a second, don't worry. No idea what the new topic will be, but it'll be something. I could walk over there and actually cast Barda at them. I'm just being lazy. You know, this is the I hit X and don't have to think strategy of shooting something before it can get to me. It's not the fastest option, but it is the laziest. Oh, what I was saying is one thing I think is really odd is how long it takes Trifluid to enter the drop table on normal mode. Like, I get that, you know, fluids aren't really supposed to be something that you care about in normal mode, but you would think it would be a rare drop in episode 2 a lot sooner than it is. Like, I know you can get it in Seabed, but that's the only place I saw it drop. Was in Seabed, and like, dang, that would have been nice if it started dropping a bit sooner. Like, I'm not saying like it should be a common drop or anything. I'm just pointing out that there is a huge discrepancy between how early you get Trimate in the first area of the game and Trifluid still not dropping in the 8th. Or in the 7th. Excuse me. It drops in the 8th. That's when it starts dropping. Yes, their genetics have been altered. I'm aware. I could have told you that if that's all you want to know. Can even tell you the cause if you want. Now, maybe not. Technically, not at the point this quest is supposed to take. I wouldn't know the cause. You know, you're not character-wise. You're not supposed to know that until the at the caves quest is when you get the first hint of it. But really, you don't know the real cause. Being Dark Falls until Ruins. Okay. My dead zone, like, the drift on my controller is literally getting worse by the minute. Does whatever the part is that accurately decides where my controller is failing me in real time right now. Like, anytime you see my character just going to the left when it doesn't make sense, that's what's going on. Like, that's why that's just randomly happening sometimes. Hey there, buddy. Why don't the simple techniques, like, I'm not saying they should, like, have the same kind of knockback that, like, strong attacks do, but they could have given them, like, normal hit knockback, you know what I mean? Like, some kind of hit stun on Barda would have been nice. I'm absolutely gonna have to increase my dead zones again on this controller. I did it like more than a month ago now. I don't remember how I did it. And this time I'm actually going to order the stuff I need to fix the controller. Do, 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 do. Open the switch. Wahoo! Not there's much point. There's no enemies here. This area is empty. We are all alone. No one is ever coming to say. I mean, what? This is your friendly reminder that you don't know if someone's coming to save you. They might be, but you know, probably save yourself if that's an option. That being said, usually if the word save is deserved, saving yourself isn't often an option. So, you know, the usefulness of that advice may vary. Also, is there a difference in Blue Burst on how big Rafoy is? Because I swear it was not that big. Like, I swear when I certainly didn't think that I could hit enemies that far apart on GameCube. But please, Dead Zone, I'm begging you. No. Yeah, you hold them off there, Alicia. You've got this. I'll get them after. Good job. Did great. Oh. I have forgotten to make sure I had a telepipe. And I don't know Ryuker yet. Life is truly hard. Okay, so I have to say, I think she's wrong. She's like, we can't bring it back. That'll only do bad things. And I'm over here like, this is a hurt youngling. This thing isn't surviving the night. You know what I mean? Like it's dead. Like it is DED dead when we leave. Like it's not making it. Like you don't gotta be concerned about what effect you're having because you're just removing something from the gene pool that I promise you was already leaving. You know, there was no hope in the first place. Like that, it was already something that was gonna go. There was in fact zero hope in the first place. Like you're not affecting anything there. You're saving something from that's about to die. And if you save something that's about to die and you take it away, you haven't changed anything. You know, I'm gonna keep checking for stuff at the shop as I go on. Should I go back for that Trimate? Yeah, it's worth it so long I can buy a telepipe to make it fast, and I'll make enough off the Trimate that it's worth it. Should. Never mind, it's not worth it. I take it back. I don't want to have to do extra work, so I'm being lazy. It is worth it, I'm just being lazy about it. And also, like, Meseta's pretty irrelevant. Even on forces, once you get far enough, you're absolutely making plenty. Oh hey, I see people are actually doing things out here. Isn't that nice? Good for them. Like, I'm happy for them, legitimately. I hope whatever they're doing is going great. I've got a Grand Skull mission to do, and I've got to figure out my dead zones. Let's see. I believe it was something like in... If I go into setup USB game controllers, maybe? Somewhere in there. Let me go to properties. Is there a dead zone? Okay, so that's not helpful. I don't know where Dead Zone is. Can I set Dead Zone on this game, actually? It certainly looks like no. Windows, controller, adjust, Dead Zone. Says it's under calibration. Okay, I'll try that. That didn't work. That definitely made it worse. Let's see if that helped at all. Has it been calibrated such that it works better now? Okay, it seems to be giving me less less shit about it. So everything except for Z rotation is now working correctly. So I just have to fix that one. That does mean I have to recalibrate. Because of course I do. Okay. Is this like this? Okay, there we go. Now it is set properly. Cool. Hopefully. Anyway, there we go. Hopefully it happens less now for a while. I forgot to actually take the Grand Skull mission, didn't I? Yep. Oh, that reminds me, I should absolutely feed my mag real quick. Give it the 1 tri-fluid. And then a bunch of anti-paralysis to try and squish its defense down. Okay. I do not need the Grand Skull dialogue. I know it well enough. Okay. We continue on our merry way. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Time to beat my enemies. Do-do-do-da-day. Gonna try and finish this force today. The forest for this force today. Because then I'll only have 2 more forces to get through the forest. Good to know that I need to be more alert on hit percentage weapons on this character, though. Now that I figured out how the yellow bows things works. I really should be actually casting spells at my enemies, but I'm being lazy. You know? I feel like that's a good description for how I play games that are grindy. Which I think games need to strike a better balance with that. And by that I mean, is mashing X all the time what I want in a game? No, of course not. That's boring. I want fights to be interesting. But then I also, when I play a game, I don't want to have to think if you're gonna make me grind. If every fight is interesting, I want every fight to be meaningful. You know what I mean? I want it to matter if they're gonna make me have to care. And if I don't have to care about every fight, like, I think some games do this better. Like, I think if I were gonna talk about a game series that does it, like, the best, it would be the Final Fantasy games generally. Not every Final Fantasy game is made equal in this regard. Just to be clear, I'm still getting dead zone issues, by the way. I've hit the point that I can't do anything about it through this anymore. If I had more direct, if I was using like a third-party software that gave me more direct control over my controller, I could probably make it work, but I'm not. So I'll look up the part that I need to replace and see if it's as easy as the internet has told me it is. And until then, I'll just suffer. You know? Not much else I can do. Because, like, honestly, the dead zone, not that bad in this game. But I like doing my roulettes and things on Final Fantasy XIV with a controller. And, if you're playing a caster, you're done. You know what I mean? Like, you're done. That's it. If you try and play a caster with drift that forces you to move, because that's gonna cancel your casts in Final Fantasy XIV. Like, that's true of any MMO, but Final Fantasy XIV has a fair amount of like longer casts. I kind of want to see if there's a good WoW Classic server somewhere that's like just starting up or active, because I'd love to do that. I really liked WoW Classic. It's weird. I think something that a lot of games don't do a very good job of anymore is making an area interesting to walk through and not too visually busy. I think this is pretty good in terms of visual design. Obviously the graphics are old now, but in terms of like how busy the designs are and how interesting and novel the spaces are to walk through, I think Phantasy Star Online overall gets a pretty good grade. Not every area gets a good grade, but most of them do. Most of them are pretty interesting to walk through. They're interesting to look at, and they're not so complex that it's hard to understand what you're looking at. What I see a lot of places do now is they have so much detail that it's hard to understand what you're looking at, which isn't always a bad thing. Like sometimes you want that, right? Like sometimes you want a place to be disorienting to the player the first time that they're there, right? That is sometimes what you're going for. But like a lot of times they have that level of detail and that's not what they were going for. And you know, you can look at it and be like, I don't think that's what they were going for, but it's certainly what happened. You know, sometimes it's quite obvious that like, yeah, that's fine. That's what they were going for. It's all good. That was the intention. And I think that's a good and interesting thing to do sometimes. It doesn't work very well if it's what you're doing the whole time. Do not sell the telepipes. I need those. So I think old sci-fi did a pretty good job of that a lot of the time, at least the visual ones. I haven't read a lot of old sci-fi, but I do remember seeing a fair amount of older sci-fi content, and it did a pretty good job of like being disorienting when they mean to and being visually clear when they don't. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that a lot of people this is something that happens a lot in art, where people are trying to replicate something without understanding why it worked, right? Like why it was good. You see that a lot, where like they try and replicate these big disorientating shots when the narrative isn't trying to disorientate you. Something I think a modern example of making yeah, it happens all the time in art where people will copy something and not realize why it worked. I'm not sure I'd say it ruined comic books, but it's definitely contributed to a lot of the more stinker plot lines. Where people did things just because it was cool in a different comic book without understanding why it worked or what it was responding to, or any of the, you know, the important details that you kind of need to understand for that kind of thing. Like it's very much a if you don't understand why something works, you shouldn't be trying to replicate it. I mean, so the problem is that people are saying the downfall of comics, and I don't think comics actually had a downfall. Because I think comics had a very predictable uptick after a decade of having really, really good adaptations of cartoons and movies. Like there's a solid 2 decades there where there's a really good X-Men cartoon, a good Spider-Man cartoon, the old Justice League cartoon that then goes into And then after that came out, the Dark Knight trilogy came out, Teen Titans came out. Like, a lot of the popularity of comic books for a good while was being fueled by people getting into the characters by these other adaptations. And that's going to cause an uptick, a temporary uptick. That as soon as those good adaptations aren't there, goes away. I mean, I blame the Grimdark thing for a lot of why, because what happened was the film and movie adaptations stopped doing as well, and then comics took a hit after that. And I absolutely blame sticking with Grimdark for too long. The problem was that they did it for like 2.5 decades. That's the problem with the superhero Grimdark. That's why Marvel did so well with the MCU, because it was serious and it took itself seriously, but it was also silly, and it was okay with being silly. Which was very different from, and that's why the Spider-Man movies did so well. Like, if you look at like how Marvel did in that stretch of time versus DC, I think it's pretty clear that the problem was that like DC was releasing too much Grimdark stuff in a row, right? Marvel was keeping a good amount of their stuff silly, and so people didn't hit that point until like the more recent oversaturation of the MCU, which is just like they need to not be releasing like 3 movies and a TV show every year. You know what I mean? Like, however much they're releasing, it's too much. The Dead Zone, why? The Dead Zone on my controller is killing me here, but it's fine. Or rather, not being able to increase my Dead Zone further on my controller. It is. I've maxed out my Dead Zone and it's still getting drift. This controller's cooked, man. Because like when they started doing Grimdark, it made a lot of sense because it was a reaction to how bright and happy the comics always were. I mean, my controller isn't an expensive fix. It just requires that I order a part or a new controller. But controllers are like $50, so I'm not doing that. And the internet says the replacement is easy, and the part's only like $4. So, you know, I'll order the part, and we'll see if the repair is as easy as the internet says it is, which I'm sure will be a fun adventure. In my experience, every time someone says something is so easy to do, it's never been. Not once has it actually been as easy to do as someone said. And that has never been the case. What is interesting is I do find that people are usually accurate when they say something is of middling difficulty. They're correct. Like when I started doing homebrew stuff on my 3DS so that way I could stream it to my computer, people online were like, yeah, this is gonna be some work, but it's not too bad, but it is going to be like a good chunk of work. And you know what, they were right. The same. Could have sworn I had a targeting reticle on that one over there, but whatever. Really? I thought going through the doorway... Yeah, there we go. I was like, I'm pretty sure going through the doorway should be sufficient. Oh, I hate people who teach complex things claiming that there's that they're using easy tutorials, and it's like, that might be as easy as a tutorial can be for that thing, but the thing itself is complex. So there's a certain level of difficulty that's going to be associated with the fact that it is complex itself. That being said, there are definitely, like, a good tutorial can make something a lot easier, but, like, I guess a part of it's just that difficulty is relative, and, like, if a thing itself is hard enough, you know, like, technically speaking, we all learn calculus now the easy way, because, you know, other people had to invent it. The dead zone, the drift on my controller just turned me at a 90-degree turn to the left. Okay, game. Or not game, controller. The game didn't do anything there. I shouldn't blame it. It was just in the crosshairs. Love how much my controller just is hard drifting to the left. I have another controller, but it's also been drifting, but that's probably the one I'll start using tomorrow, because at least it's not as bad. Because this is, getting pretty bad. Me looking at the enemy, like, should I play a force properly, or should I shoot you from all the way over here? And then I just start shooting. Because I don't care enough to play a force the way you should. I should be using magic, but I'm not going to. It's not gonna actually happen. Because it is faster. Well, not faster. It is easier to just pull the trigger on my gun. It is certainly not faster. That is definitely not true. Using spells would be faster, but it requires that I press more buttons. So, you know. And actually have thoughts. So, like, that's really out of the question. That's not happening. I think there are hack and slash games where it is fun, but you really have to design your magic system around hack and slash games. You know what I mean? Like, it really has to be designed to fit in. Oh, I was like, what's that sound effect for? Then I realized someone was making a server announcement. But I think, like, some games do magic pretty well. Like, I think all the various forms of magic in Kingdom Hearts games are done really well for a hack and slash. Particularly my favorite iteration is absolutely the command deck system. I think that's an amazing way to incorporate magic and special abilities into a hack and slash, and I wish more games had things like it, because I think it works great. I wish more Kingdom Hearts games had that system, because I think it's like one of the best things they ever came up with. Was the slide deck system. Oh, I have a better cane than that with hit percentage on it. If it had been a handgun, I would have kept it, but it's just a poor little cane with 5% hit. Yeah, like well, not Chain of Memories. That's not a slide deck system. That's a card system. But Birth by Sleep is the one I'm thinking of. Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance. That's the system I'm thinking of. I think that's one of their better ideas for how to incorporate magic and other special abilities. I can learn Gafoy! Oh, life has changed. I'm casting magic now. I will in fact be using magic because I've just learned the best spell. And I stand by that description, just for the record. It is the best spell. It's not close. Against anything that is remotely weak against fire, Gafoy is the best. Not even weak against fire, just not strong against it. There we go. Gafoy is now at the top of my magic menu. I actually think magic feels pretty good in this game. It just requires a little more thought than I want to do right now. Screw you, Bernie. Didn't even let my Gafoy get to them. Bernie's so rude, shooting the enemies. How dare he play the game? Stupid NPC. Daring to actually do things in the video game. Who gave him the audacity? Okay, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be streaming. I wanted to finish this Force today, but I've not regularly streamed in like 3 months, so and I've not been doing all that much yapping outside of that. So like my throat's legitimately starting to like get sore and my voice is getting tired because I just haven't been using it enough. So I think after this quest I'll probably call it for the day. Don't know when I'll stream again, because honestly, impulse, that's when I'll stream again, and I feel like doing it impulsively. Okay, go somewhere where it'll reach both of them. Bernie is making it hard for me to practice my Gafoy stacking because he is killing the enemies that I need to Gafoy stack on. Bernie be over here, a dirty kill stealer, taking all my kills. Ignore the fact that he's one-shotting the enemies. He's a dirty kill stealer. I would be super happy if he wasn't useless, if XP in this game didn't work in that if you don't at least tag an enemy, you don't get XP. And if you aren't the one who deals the killing blow, you lose 10% of the XP. Is it 10 or is it 20? I think it might be 20. You get less. You get less XP. I think it is 20% though. Yeah, it's rough out here. I would definitely not care about him being useful if that wasn't true. Actually, maybe in this scenario I would, because I'm trying to practice something. And he's getting in the way by murdering all of my enemies before I can. Birdie, why? My foy would have killed it just fine. I'm lower level than you, you jerk. Let me get my XP. Anyway, that's that quest done. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Gotta go throw this scape doll in the storage, and then move on with my life, otherwise known as, that'll be all for today. Let me see if any of my friends are streaming. Okay, let's open up Twitch. Fortunate, it looks like now. Bummer. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for stopping by. Give me a follow if you want to see me play more of this game. The more people who follow me while I'm playing this game, the more likely I am to stream it again. So, there's your incentive, I guess. But thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.